everyone, welcome to day 16. Yes, 16 of my December daily 2025. Had to take a few days off. We had a busy weekend, and then also my printer ran out of ink, so I couldn't print these large, the large photos or the large, size. And then, of course, it didn't want to print right, and I had to mess with that. So, fun stuff. But anyway, and full disclosure, I will be also sharing some other crafty videos, probably some Chalk Couture videos, kind of mixed in with the last few pages of my December daily, because there's a few things I want to get done that are a little more time sensitive, like, Valentine's Day and things like that. So I'm going to be working on that as well. But for today, I am working on this page that I created in my foundation pages. I've got the in this season prompt. And originally I was thinking I would cover up the whole thing. But then as I started looking at my photos, I decided, you know what, I'm going to do the flip up like Allie did. So I printed my photos. I used her template for the photos. And then I also used her template for the journaling. And I printed this on printer paper. I have a couple different kinds of printer paper. This one's a little bit thicker, has a little bit more weight to it, but it's still really thin. When I first printed it on cardstock, and this is a bad example because you can see my ink is starting to go out. But, when I printed it on here, it is so thick. And then I'm also going to be adding on a photo and, something on the inside. I'm not sure. So I just didn't want to add a ton of bulk. So I printed it on printer paper. So I also pulled out a couple stamp sets that I'm thinking I'm going to use on the inside of the flaps. So I pulled out this one. This one is a super old one. I've had this one forever. I'm thinking these would look really cute on the inside of the little flip up. And then I also pulled out this one. This one's fairly recent, maybe within the last 6 to 9 months. I can't remember exactly. But I thought this one would be real fun to do on the inside, or, this one or this. I'm not sure. Or maybe I'll do a combination of both. Because I'm not going to use the Santa stamp. Probably won't use Believe, but I don't know. We'll see. But that's something I'll decide once I get everything cut out and set up in here. Also need to figure out what number I'm going to use, whether I'm going to use one of these from, from the kit, or if I'm going to use something else from my stash. Let's see if I can find the number 16 here. I'm finding every number. There's 14, there's 19, 17, 18, every number but 16. There we go. I feel like this is almost too big. In fact, I know it is. So that one is probably out, but this one, might work depending on what I have on the outside. Let's see, I've got 8, 9. So I've got 9 photos. So actually this probably wouldn't work either, because it would cover up an entire photo. Might end up using some of those little stickers. Like maybe one of these. I've got white. White might show up, on maybe on that one. That might look good on there. Or a gold. Maybe like this gold one, or something like that. Yeah, that's probably what I'll end up doing. So, just a couple things I need to work on. So, first thing I'm going to start with is cutting everything out and probably attaching the photos. We'll see. And then I need to figure out what I'm going to stamp on the inside. I also grabbed out my gold embossing powder because I am really having fun with embossing, so I'm going to do that on the inside. And then, yeah, so let's get started on day 16. So hit a tiny snafu, which you probably saw just then. After I cut out my photos, I realized that they are a lot smaller than my journaling box. So I was trying to figure out what happened and went back into the file, and I realized that this template is not sized for 8.5 by 11. It was sized to like 6 3/4 by something. I don't remember. So printed it smaller. Looks like it's gonna fit. Looks like a better size. So I have to cut these out. And then you probably saw this little snafu. So I'm gonna have to reprint that photo. I'll worry about that in a minute. But now I'm gonna go and start recutting these. Okay, so once I had my journaling reprinted and cut out, I'm going to attach all the photos after I fold those in half. And the journaling will not be the first snafu in this project, which you will see in a minute. But for now, I am going to attach my photos to all of my flip ups and then figure out where I want them to go on my page. So I'm also going to have to do a little bit of trimming here and there because, nothing's perfect and nothing ever cuts out perfectly. So I'm just going to attach those on there and then figure out where I want them and then figure out which stamp set I want to use on the inside of the flaps. Okay, so I've got everything set up and now I'm just kind of looking through those two stamp sets that I picked out. Ultimately, I'm going to go with that older one that I have from many years back. I don't remember when that was, but that was quite a while ago that I got that stamp set. But I just love it. And it actually ends up working perfect on the inside of these little flaps. So I'm going to pick 3 different stamps. I'm going to pick out, I think it was Joy, Merry, and Bright, and I think Jolly was the other one. Or no, one of them wasn't Joy, it was December. Anyway, so I'm going to stamp with Versamark and then use my embossing powder. I'm not going to actually use my heat gun until I get all 9 of these stamped and put the embossing powder on there. And then the idea is to stagger the stamped ones on the page, but you'll see at the end, I kind of goofed that up and it's totally fine. We are not perfect here, so I'm just rolling with it at this point. So I'm going to get all these stamped and then I'm going to pull out my embossing gun or my heat gun and emboss these. And I've had a lot of fun playing with this embossing powder for this album. I feel like I haven't done a lot of play in the past with my albums, as far as like with stamping and embossing and stitching and all that stuff. So I'm really embracing that. And I can't wait to go back to some of my older albums that I didn't finish and bring that into those albums as well. So it's been a lot of fun. And, you know, a part of me was kind of bummed that I didn't get to work on this in December, but it's really been nice to work on it in January when I don't have all the December craziness going on. And it kind of helped you know, extend the season a little bit, right? So here's where I recognize snafu number 2 on this page. So I already had my photos on there, and I realized the embossing gun or the heat gun kind of messed with my photos. Okay, so today apparently is the day of issues. So I attached my photos on here, and then I did the embossing. And what I realized was, you know, I flipped this over and I thought, oh, there's something like right there. I'm like, what is that? And then I looked at another photo and I realized the heat caused some of my photos to kind of crack. Not all of them, but definitely that one, this one, that one, that one. Definitely that one. That one's a good example. Well, that doesn't have a photo on it. And not that one. So all of them but 3. So I'm going to need to, I'm not going to reprint the journaling. I'm just going to take these off and reprint the photos. I needed to reprint photos anyway because I needed a new one of this. But I wanted to leave this in here just in case someone else was thinking of, oh, maybe I'll, you know, add a photo and then emboss on the back side of that. Well, don't do that because the heat will mess up your photo. So here we are. It's all good. It's all fixable. And, you know, worst case, I have to print everything over. But I'm just going to reprint the photos. Like I said, I had to do that anyway because I needed that other one. So thankfully this adhesive is pretty forgiving when you take stuff off right after you put it on. So, I mean, it is ripping the paper a little bit, but I'm not worried about that because nobody's going to see that. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to reprint them. I'm going to cut them out again, add them to this journaling, and then I will come back on here. So yeah. Okay, so crisis averted. Photos were reprinted. I added them to my flip-ups. So now basically all that's left is just to add them on here. And like I said, even if I had to, you know, reprint all the journaling and all that good stuff, it's, you know, at the end of the day, it's really not a big deal. So I'm just gonna pop these on here, and I did decide that I'm going to use that one of the numbers from the kit, the red circle. I think that's gonna look just fine in the center right there. I don't have anything else to go along with this page. It's basically just going to be this. So I'm just going to add these on here. These cookies, by the way, are so good. They're like almost like a shortbread. And then they're chocolate mint. And then you do like a chocolate ganache, a dark chocolate ganache, like right in the center. And then you put an Andes mint in there. And remember I said, or shared in my day 5, how much I like mint with chocolate, or how much I like mint, period, at Christmas time. But haven't done a whole lot of Christmas baking up until this point, because I did a bunch Thanksgiving week, when my bestie came into town, and we had a cookie baking day, so that was so fun. So we made I think 4 or 5 different kinds of cookies, which I actually shared in my album in my pre-December stories. Right here. There we go. Yeah, there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 different cookies. Oh, they were so good. And these were chocolate shortbread. So good. These were strawberry, lime, and these were cherry. We basically were hitting all the fruits. They were so good. But anyway, and they were all brand new recipes that we tried this year, except for the strawberry one. I hadn't tried it, but my friend had tried it. That was one of her favorites. But other than that, all the recipes we did were brand new, which was kind of fun. And they were all good. I mean, so, you know, sometimes when you try new recipes, you know, they aren't always sometimes winners, but these were. So that was a lot of fun. So I'm just going to add this 16 right on the front. Oh, and Petit Fours from Swiss Colony. Oh my gosh. One of my favorites. I get them every year at Christmas time. Yum. Okay, and then I'm just going to staple this on. And I don't care that it's going to show. Actually, what is the luck? What is the luck? It stapled right there. You can't even see it. So I used 3 different stamps, and I kind of went in a pattern. So like the December, and then, oh no, I didn't. I guess I goofed up. Oh my goodness. I meant to do, let's see. I mixed around where I ended up putting up my photos. And you know what? I'm not even going to worry about it at this point. I had meant to do like every other, you know, but I'm not going to worry about it now. It's already on there and it's not moving. So anyway, it's cute. I love that. So I'm going to put that in my album, and then I've been kind of going back and forth on what I want to do for day, let's see, 17, because I've got the back of this. Flip that over. So originally I was thinking I'm going to do something like this, and I think I might still do that. I had another idea, but I think I'm going to put that somewhere else. And then I've got day 19. I've already printed out my photos for that. Just a little spoiler alert. I discovered, and I'm sure other people have discovered this too, these little rectangular pieces. I can't remember if these were in the main kit or if they were an add-on. They fit almost perfectly in here in these squares. So I think I'm going to do something with that. I really want to stamp on the top of here and use embossing again. So I will probably do that for day 17. Let's see. No, wait a minute. 16, 17. Yes. And then I got to figure out what I'm going to do for 18. This is 19. I think I figured out 18. I can't remember what I'm thinking. Probably something with my tree, I'm thinking. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and watching all of my mistakes on this one. But like I said, I left them in there because I wanted you to see, you know, hopefully it'll keep someone else from making the same goof up. So I will be back again later for day 17. No. Yes. No. Yes. I will be back later with day 17. I'll see you in the next video.